Perfect, perfect. Michael, I really like your live stream, man. Digging that, dude. I'm freaking digging that. All right, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. All right, make sure I didn't miss anything else in our chat. Not see anything. Okay. All right, so let's see who we got today. Let's see. So we have Lucas. We have Michael. We have Liv. We have Casey. We have Gannon. We have. Come on, computer. Probably help if I didn't have so many freaking tabs open all the time. Aslan. Cameron. Meredith. Maddie. Levi. See who else? See Thomas. Ben. Olivia. Paris. Bonnie. Ryan. Liv. Parker. Savannah. Brooks. Let's see who else. All right. I believe that's it. All right. Good deal. Good. Oh, Reagan. My bad. And Reagan. All right. Good deal. Good deal. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share my screen with you guys that are online. Let's go ahead and click off of that. Present now. So give me a second. You know, takes a minute or two every once in a while. Let's go ahead and present my screen. So what we're going to do today, again, we're going to go over our bell ringer. I'm going to go over your instructions for your project over the next several days. Again, I don't think it's too. Oh, battery's running low. That's not good. It's not good. It's not good. I don't think it's too incredibly difficult or anything like that. But I am asking you to provide examples and to to provide some reasonings, some explanations. So it is going to be a little bit more in depth. It's kind of what we've done the past couple of days, but now you're doing it. I guess that's the best way to say it. All right, so let me present my screen. Let's get this going. There we go. Click. All right. All right, it is now sharing my screen. All right, good deal. Okay. Michael, is this sharing my screen? Can you see my screen? It's not sharing it yet? Come. It is? All right. Because sometimes I've noticed that sometimes it'll say I'm presenting, and then it's not actually doing that. So I do want you guys to be able to see what we are seeing in class. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll at least go over our bell ringer. If that's just being slow, hopefully we can figure that out. All right, so our bell ringer for today: insults are the arguments employed by those who are in the wrong. Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Let me tell you who Rousseau was. So Rousseau was actually an Enlightenment philosopher. When we say Enlightenment, we're talking about from like the early 1600s to about mid 1700s in Europe. You have the Enlightenment. We'll talk more about that in the future. But Rousseau, he was a political philosopher. This is where you see a lot of political philosophy taking place in Europe around the 1600s and 1700s. Different wars, revolutions going on. The American Revolution will really be a byproduct of kind of the Enlightenment period and a lot of this new political philosophy that is taking place in Europe. Again, remember, a lot of the Europeans are then going to make their way to America and bring about some of those same changes they've been talking about. One of the changes that have been discussed in European political philosophy at this time is by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. It's called the social contract. So what the social contract is stating I'm giving you a very brief definition of it. But what it says, what's up, dude? 5, 4. Yeah. Thanks, man. Yep. So with Rousseau, the social contract, what he was saying by that is that you, as a citizen, you have to give up some of your freedom. In return, you get some protection. So what does that mean? So you have to give up some of your freedom. You know, humans cannot be completely entirely free, or it turns into like the Wild Wild West. So what happens? There's no law. Like you have to give up some of your freedom, so there is order. Too much chaos is a bad thing. Too much freedom can be chaotic. So you have some type of order. So the government, you give up some of your freedom to the government, and in return, your government protects you with laws, with enforcing those laws. That could be, you look at that in terms of today being like police, in terms of national security, in terms of like the military. So again, the social contract is how governments and citizens relate to each other and how they coexist with each other. This was different. This was different than what had been kind of the norm, because the norm in Europe before this is that of, well, we had a lot of monarchies, right? A lot of monarchies. So it's not this whole idea of humans having too much freedom and needing some order. Is that they needed more freedom than they already had because they had too much order. It's kind of that. So there's a balance, there's a spectrum. If you look at, again, this is more so deeper into political theory, political philosophy. But if you were to look at like a spectrum, like a line, and on one end of the line you have complete chaos, and on the other side of the line you have complete order. Both of those can be incredibly dangerous. Complete chaos, that is where, again, you see, that's where you see like the French Revolution, like complete chaos. But you also have like way too much order can be a bad thing too, because that's where you get something like Nazi Germany, where it's just incredibly too much order or way too much chaos. You have to be somewhere in the middle. That's kind of like social contract theory is kind of what it's addressing. Okay, so let's again. Now you know a little bit about Rousseau. The reason I tell you about him a little bit more than what we talked about previously about some of our other just quotes. Rousseau, we're going to see him again. We're going to see the social contract theory again. So now you have a little bit of an introduction there. So again, insults are the arguments employed by those who are in the wrong. Gannon, what did you get from this?
Any ways to get back at those who have proven themselves to be in that subject smart.
Okay. So if somebody knows a little bit more than you, or a little bit more educated on a topic than you, not you specifically, I'm just talking in general. Sometimes we, kind of attack the person instead of their actual idea, their actual argument. Okay, very good. Casey?
I thought this meant that whenever someone realizes that they're in the wrong, when they're in an argument and they don't want to back down, they just resort to insulting the other person.
Very good. Have you run across people like that before?
Yeah, I lived with some of them.
Oh, shots fired. I get it. But nobody likes to be wrong. Like, really though, nobody likes to be wrong. You don't like to be wrong. I don't like to be wrong. Your parents don't like to be wrong. Your boyfriend, your girlfriend don't like to be wrong. Your friends don't. Nobody likes to be wrong. And some people are more willing to be wrong than others. Some people, they just ain't. Some people, they just have in their mind they're never wrong. Some people have in their mind they're always wrong. And then again, like that's not a good thing either, because then you kind of allow yourself to be persuaded many different ways. Again, it's all about balance. It's all about balance. Very good. All right. So what we're going to do today is we are going to start on a project. So I'm going to be showing you guys this on on my laptop on Google Classroom. Let me check this chat real quick. And I think we had one or two more add in. I'll make sure I get you in here. Chat's real nice. Petition. Okay, let's see this. Will you record this meeting? Got that. Petition for better internet online so we can see Trident pace in 1080. Dude, I like it. Dude, I'm a pacer. I'm a pacer. I can't help it, man. I cannot help it. I'm back and forth. You should see me talk on the phone. Like, so I'll be in public too doing this. Like, say, I don't know, I'm out like at a restaurant and somebody called me and I have to take it. Then I'm walking outside, I'm just walking on the sidewalk, back and forth, back and forth. And I start walking in between cars and I start saying, oh, this ain't my driveway. If I should do this little sketch. And I just walk around everywhere, man. Walk across the wall. Then I can't help it. I can't help it. That's just where I do my best thinking, I think. I guess. I don't know. Where do I sign? I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, so let's see. Let's see. Brooks always got something to say. The fact that Trident and I are wearing the same shirt. Okay, okay. All right. Let me check here. Let me unfreeze this so you guys can see what I'm saying. Reagan, you said you had a question that is 99% unrelated to what we were currently discussing. If you want to go ahead and type that in real quick, I'll do my best to answer that while I am pulling up our instructions. Okay. All right. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up our instructions. I'll check back at that chat in just a second. Okay. So I posted this a little bit earlier. As you can see, it is Logical Fallacy Project Slideshow. Okay, Logical Fallacy Project Slideshow. All right, let's go to instructions. I actually have one thing to add in. We worked on an example in our last class, or in my first block. I'm going to add that example in real quick, and then Reagan, I'll check back and see if I can answer your unrelated questions. But again, what we're going to be working on for the next couple of days is essentially what we've been doing in class, that you've kind of seen me do. Now it's your turn, okay? I wanted to give you kind of a basis so you knew what to expect. You knew what these logical fallacies look like. I gave you definitions of these logical fallacies. I gave you examples of these logical fallacies. And then in class, what we have done is we've deconstructed them and pretty much just explained how they are faulty. Okay, that's what you are going to be doing with each of the 10 logical fallacies that we have covered. So we are going to be doing this as a presentation. Usually, if this is a regular semester, what I would do is, you would present these in class. But with our current circumstances, this is just going to be something that you turn in, and I'm going to be the only one really viewing it. So if they're really good, I might use them in the future. That'd be really cool. All right, so let me put this example slides. I'm going to insert that real quick, and then we will take a look. All right, example slides, save, and let me check this real quick. Okay. Okay, you were right. This is completely unrelated to what we're talking about, Reagan. So would you like to be kept in the loop of the argument over letters between me and AA, Ryan? It would be quite interesting to say the least, especially since you do not have to use. Okay, yeah, keep me in the loop. Keep me in the loop. Okay, so let's look at our saving. There we go. Let's look at our instructions. Okay, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for us in class. Logical Fallacy Project Slideshow. Okay, over the past 2 days, again, we have went through 10 of the most commonly used types of logical fallacies. I have a typo right here. During our, I should say our, not out. During our past 2 classes, we have not only pointed out what logical fallacies are, we have also talked about when, why, and how logical fallacies are being used in our day-to-day life. So the next 2 days, you're going to be taking a more hands-on approach with these logical fallacies. Your assignment is to create an example of each of the 10 logical fallacies we have covered in class. And I want you to explain how the fallacy is being used in your examples. Okay? Your example should clearly explain how logical fallacy is being committed, like how we've done in class over the past 2 days. Again, I've created an example slide that we're going to look at if you have any questions about that. You'll be creating a slideshow using Google Slides. 11 total slides. That's one title slide, one slide for each logical fallacy. It's not as bad as you think. Your slideshow should also include images to strengthen your example and your explanation. It needs to have some color throughout because I stress this. plain white slideshows with just a lot of text on them are excruciating to grade. Excruciating. I get bored. Give me something that's visually appealing. Dude, get to where, like, in your writing, like, dude, add some funny stuff in there. Add some, find your voice. Find your voice. You gotta be a little bit entertaining, right? Nobody likes somebody completely dry. I want you to explain this well, but hey, don't be afraid to throw in some funny stuff in there. Throw in some of your personality in there. That helps me get to know you a little bit better too, and it makes it more enjoyable. Okay. Our notes from the past 2 days will help you not only collect information, but will also assist you in your format. We will create a quick example during our class today. We've already done that. We're going to take a look at that. I've given you a rubric. We'll look at that in a second. So let's go ahead and click on our example slide. Okay. So again, there are 10 logical fallacies that we have covered in class. 10 that we have covered in class. So let's look ever slowly but surely. We're going to pull this up. All right. So this is what I came up with a little bit earlier. Okay. So I'm going to just show you what I've got. So this is my title slide. This is my title slide. If those two images in the middle will pop up, this will look a little bit better. Again, I gave it a title, the 10 most commonly used logical fallacies. I've got some images right here. Again, those two in the middle are pulling up. But I got some images that really just relate to logic, okay? I did that again just to kind of, it makes it visually appealing, but it is also, related to our topic because we're talking about logical fallacies. We talked about how puzzles are help us sharpen our critical thinking skills, our logical thinking skills. We talked about how math is essentially just an extension of logic. These two in the middle, if I remember correctly, one is a Rubik's cube because again, that's an algorithm, which is again you can only do it one way. It's logical. And the other image, I can't remember what it was, but internet, right? So let's let this load very slowly. Is it already loaded right here? I never know. Announcement. But I bet this announcement is about pictures. Oh, good.
If you are on the math call, you can come down to the lunch room to get your picture done.
Boom!
If you are on the math call, you can come down and get your picture done. Come down and get them done for the first time, or if you didn't like the one you took last time, just come get it redone. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, the other one was like Scrabble, like a word puzzle. All right, so this is my title slide. Again, not much to it. Just try to make it to where, again, it's visually appealing, kind of draws you in a little bit. All right, so here we go with our, let me zoom. Let me just go ahead and present this so you can see it a little bit better. So I gave you an example of slippery slope, okay? I used the example that we talked about in class. Let me show you how this is different than our notes from the past few days and what you're going to be doing, okay? So a lot of writing there, a lot of writing. You are going to be expected to provide thorough explanations. Okay, let me turn the light off real quick so you guys in class can see a little better. All right. So slippery slope, the slippery slope fallacy. So in your notes, the past couple days in your notes, what we have done is I gave you the definition of the fallacy. I gave you the definition. So what the actual logical fallacy is, the abstract definition. I also gave you an example argument. And then in class, we've talked about, okay, well, what makes this fallible? Is that the word I'm looking for? Fallible? Is that the way I say it? I don't know. Where's the error in the reasoning here? Where is the error in the reasoning? Because that's what a logical fallacy is. A logical fallacy is an error in reasoning. So how is a logical fallacy being committed here? That's what we've done in class. That's what you haven't wrote down, but what we've talked about. Okay? Now you're actually going to write it down and can deconstruct this yourself. So the example we used in class, this is pretty close to the example we used in class. I typed it up earlier off the top of my head. It may not be exactly word for word, but it's pretty close. So slippery slope fallacy. The example. the government should not ban Hummers. If the government were to ban Hummers because they are bad for the environment, then eventually the government will ban all cars. Because of that, we should not ban Hummers. Okay. That is the example of a slippery slope fallacy. Now, here's the thing about slippery slope fallacy that we need to take into account. A slippery slope fallacy does not mean that it can't be true. This could be true, but again, there's a lot of things that have to happen to make it true. It's not A to B, and we're going to explain that here in our explanation, which you see in this lighter font color. Okay, so how do we explain this? So we explain this one. This is how I explain. Hummers are seen as bad for the environment because they get terrible gas mileage per gallon. We talked yesterday, we looked it up, we said it's about 12 miles per gallon. So that means that each time you put a gallon of gas into your gas tank, you can run for 12 miles. Most vehicles, we looked this up in last class, have a better average miles per gallon at 25 than the Hummer. So because the Hummer gets such bad gas mileage, that means more oil has to be supplied, used to supply the Hummer. That means more drilling for oil. That means more exhaust being produced. Both of those are bad for the air we breathe in. Okay, I want you to. You do need to include images. This is what you'll see in your rubric. You do need to include images. If you look at the images that I have put in, they all relate to the topic. So we have Hummers here. We have you go to the gas station. I don't know what those little individual things are called. Dispensaries. I don't know. What are they called? Have you ever thought about that? I don't know what they're called.
Gas pump.
Pump. Dang, now I feel stupid. It is called a gas pump. Now I'm an idiot. All right. This is an oil refinery. Okay, this is an oil refinery. So when they drill and refine oil, like again, there's a lot of pollution that goes on there. So this kind of goes back to making this point. Okay. Again, this is just in order to explain our logical fallacy. Okay. So more exhaust is being produced. Both are bad for the air we breathe in. If Hummers are banned at 12 miles per gallon, then other vehicles that have similar miles per gallon ratios will be banned as well. But if 12 miles per gallon is bad and the average is 25, then what's to say that all vehicles under 20 miles per gallon shouldn't be banned? Because it is bad for the environment. And then from there, does it go up to 30? Does it go up to 40? Does it go up to 50? And at what point are vehicles too bad for the environment and must be banned completely? That's what this logical fallacy of slippery slope is concluding. The slippery slope example of Hummers leading to all cars being banned has to go through many steps. It is not A to B, it is A to Z. Okay, so saying we should not ban Hummers because if we do ban Hummers, the government's going to ban all cars. It is saying this right here, that, okay, if 12 miles per gallon is bad, and, okay, well then, if it's bad for the environment, then okay, well then it's going to bump up to 20, okay? But after a while, when all cars are above 20, what does that mean? Okay, now 30's bad, okay? Now 30's bad, okay, now it's going to bump up to 40. And then if it bumps up to 40, it's then going to bump up to 50. And then at that point, are we just not going to have cars? That is what this logical fallacy is concluding, that if you ban one, then there's going to be a chain reaction that's going to lead to this ultimate huge generalized state. This whole huge generalized policy that now we don't have cars at all. Okay? So in our explanation, we've just explained not necessarily just how the logical fallacy is being used. We've described what this person is saying. We've described their logic. And we've also showed at the end how, again, this could be true, but it has to go through a lot of steps. That's how the slippery slope fallacy works. That's why it's so appealing, because it can be true, but again, it's not this to that. It's this to this to this to this to this to this to that. Okay, that's how the slippery slope fallacy works. It's a little bit different than some of your other ones. Like yesterday, we talked about straw man. We talked about how, so Senator Jones says that he does not want to add to the defense budget. Senator Smith can't believe that Senator Jones wants to leave the country defenseless. That logical fallacy, why is that an error in reasoning? Well, because that's not what the first senator said. And then we described that. Again, slippery slope is a difficult one, not just because it slippery slope's a difficult one because, again, it is very appealing because it can be true. It can be true. So that's the one that I wanted to start off with, just to give you an example of the argument being made and how we kind of deconstruct that argument. And in my explanation right here, we kind of took the side of this guy that's saying we should not ban Hummers because, again, it shows how that logical fallacy is being used. Again, you see that I have pictures that relate to my topic that help kind of tell us more, that connect our topic to examples. Okay, so I did just that for you. Okay, I did just that for you, just those two slides. The title slide kind of, give you an idea of what that could look like, and then I also gave you one example from what we've already talked about. Now, I do not want to see my same slippery slope example. I do not want to see the government should not ban Hummer. I don't want to see that example. I want you to come up with your own. Can you look for other examples? Can you Google other examples? Yeah, you can get it. You can use those to give you an idea. You can use those to give you an idea, but I want you to be able to explain it in your own words. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at this rubric real quick, and then you guys are going to go ahead and get started. Let's look at this rubric real quick. All right, pulling up. All right, so this rubric is one that I use for presentations. This is a presentation. Ours is a little bit different because, again, we're not actually presenting this. If this was a normal, I had to modify it a little bit. But again, so some of the vocabulary may be a little bit different, but you'll get what I'm saying. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Come on. Need this to move up. There we go. All right, so first, organization. So I'm just going to show you what excellent organization looks like, sounds like. And then, again, if it's missing something, then I grade it accordingly. So information is organized in a clear, logical way. The audience is able to follow the presentation easily. Again, I gave you, as long as you follow kind of the outline that I've already kind of given you, and we've kind of looked at through our notes, we've looked at through our example today, your organization should be fine. As long as you have, again, you have the title of the logical fallacy, the example of the logical fallacy, and then your explanation of how there is an error in reasoning, okay? Or how that logical fallacy is being committed. Both of those you can kind of do in the same spot. Content. All information is accurate. Information is paraphrased. Students demonstrate a strong understanding of the content. Again, you can use, it doesn't bother me for you to look up examples of like slippery slope. That doesn't bother me because you are engaging with that. But I want you to be able to explain it because it's easy. It's easy for me to figure out if something has just been copied. Very easy. I want your explanation in your words, okay? So again, students demonstrate a strong understanding of the content. Strong understanding. Okay. Appropriate graphics. All of your graphics provide outstanding visual examples of the concepts being discussed. Again, you saw that I had 4 images on that one slide. I had Hummers. That is what is being discussed about being banned. I had a gas pump. Yeah, gas pump. I had an oil refinery showing the pollution. And then I had a banning of cars symbol. Okay, so of showing, again, kind of that line of thinking along with the logical fallacy. Lastly, if this will scroll down, you see spelling and grammar. Okay, this is important. I make grammatical mistakes all the time. And trust me, hold on, what is this doing? Trust me, if I was grading my own work, I wouldn't give it 100 all the time because, again, I make grammatical errors. In this, your grammatical errors really do mean a little bit more. Now that's reloading. Your grammatical errors are important, or your grammar, I should say, is important because with logic, again, we've been talking about how to construct arguments. If you don't construct the argument in a way that makes sense, well, then you're really that's the whole purpose of the assignment. So we're kind of losing out there. Spelling, again, just go back and make sure that everything is, it's spelled correctly. There don't need to be a lot of errors there. If there's, one or two, that's not a big deal. But the more there is, the worse that looks. But the grammar and your construction of your argument, that needs to be something you take a little bit more time into. Because, again, if it's not logically constructed well, grammar-wise, then it's hard for me to understand exactly if you understand what we're talking about, okay? So, with that being said, you have the example slides I've given you. You have this rubric. You have the notes from the past 2 days. Again, both of those are attached to Google Classroom. You've also, again, physically taken notes. So I think you guys should have a lot to help you here, okay? I do want to see some progress. I want to see that you're working on this tomorrow. Tomorrow, this will be a good time to ask questions. But for the rest of class today, you will have the opportunity to go ahead and get started. Those of us in class, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and begin working. I don't care in what order you do this in. I don't care. You don't have to do all of the logical fallacies in the order we covered them. You don't have to, you don't have to go slide by slide. Like, you can set up your outline first and then look for your examples and then go back and do your explanations. I don't care how you do it, but I do want to see that you have something complete, something you're working on tomorrow, okay? This will be due Friday. So if you have any problems, tomorrow's a really good time to ask. If you ask me at, let's see, this is due Friday night, 11:59. If you ask me at 11 o'clock Friday night, like, hey, Mr. Triton, can you explain this to me? Chances of me getting back to you are very slim. So this gives us, if we work on it a little bit now, we can kind of figure out maybe the questions we need to ask, clarification we need. Okay? Okay? Good deal. What just happened? Ram, why are you cussing? Let's see. There's a lot of tabs open. Yeah, I know. A lot going on. What is going on? All right, let me go ahead and not. All right, we're done recording. All right. Let's see. Is this going to stop? All right, let's just pause this.